Imagine a man walking through a crowded city street. Cars has passed, faces blur together, and advertisements shout at him from every direction, promising happiness, power, or peace, if only he reaches, buys, wins, achieves. He feels the pulse of desire pressing at his ribs, the constant whisper of more, more, more. Yet beneath the noise, there is another man. He walks the same street, sees the same world, but feels nothing tugging at him. He wants for nothing, not because he has everything, but because he has let go of needing it. And in that unseen act of surrender, he becomes free in a way most men will never understand. The first man is ordinary, built on the fragile architecture of expectation. Every success fuels his hunger. Every failure bleeds his spirit. The second man is extraordinary, invisible to the world, but indestructible within himself. He embodies what Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, called apatheia. Not apathy, but a state of calm invulnerability. He expects nothing, and because of that, nothing can take from him. But to expect nothing in a world built on expectation is an act of rebellion. Our entire culture thrives on the currency of anticipation. Expectation of praise, validation, love, comfort, security, meaning. Without it, we are told, life becomes hollow. Yet Epictetus would say the opposite, that expectation itself is the hollowing force, the parasite that eats away at the soul. Consider this unsettling paradox. The more we expect from life, the less life gives. The more we demand from others, the more powerless we become before them. When a man builds his peace on the outcome of things he cannot control, wealth, recognition, affection, he becomes a prisoner to their movement. But when he withdraws that power and returns it to himself, when he learns to live without needing what he cannot command, then, and only then, does he truly rule. What if power is not found in what we achieve, but in what we no longer require? This is the hidden dimension of Epictetus's teaching. Born a slave, crippled, and stripped of worldly privilege, he was forced to confront life from its lowest rung. And yet, from that abyss, he uncovered something kings and conquerors failed to find. That expectation is a shackle the mind willingly wears. Freedom, he taught, is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. But this is not the kind of freedom our age celebrates. We confuse it with indulgence, with the license to satisfy our wants. True freedom, however, begins with mastering those wants themselves. A man who expects nothing is not defeated by loss or disappointment. He stands unmoved as the storms of fortune rage, because his peace was never anchored in them. The unseen power of such a man lies in stillness. He becomes impenetrable not by fighting the world, but by ceasing to let the world dictate his inner climate. He has learned that expectation is not merely a habit, it is a form of self-deception. It says, "The world should bend to me," but the world bends for no one. It moves in its own indifferent rhythm, and those who expect from it inevitably drown in its tide. And yet, when a man stops expecting, something extraordinary happens. He doesn't fall into despair or nihilism. Instead, he discovers a quiet radiance, a joy that asks for nothing, because it is no longer conditional. He begins to see that life, stripped of the fever of wanting, becomes luminous in its simplicity. The question, then, is not how to get more from life, but how to stop demanding from it altogether. Because in that stopping, the self is reborn. As Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." But Epictetus might have gone further, suggesting that he who expects nothing from life bears even the unbearable with serenity. Expectation is not born in a vacuum. It grows quietly, feeding on fear and longing, two forces that shape almost every human action. We expect because we fear uncertainty. We expect because we crave control. And yet, in our attempt to predict and secure the future, we weave the very web that ensnares us. To understand this, imagine a man standing before a locked door. Behind it, he believes, lies everything he's ever wanted: love, wealth, validation, peace. He shakes the handle, pounds his fists, pleads with the silence on the other side. Days pass, then years. His knuckles bleed, his hope decays, yet he stays. Why? Because he expects the door to open. He believes he deserves it. But what if the door was never meant to open at all? Expectation is the mind's way of bargaining with reality. It whispers, if I do this, then I should get that. It is a subtle contract we sign with the universe, a demand for fairness, a hidden ultimatum against chaos. And when life breaks the deal, we call it suffering. Epictetus saw this with frightening clarity. He taught that our distress never comes from events themselves, but from our judgments about them. The moment we expect reality to conform to our desires, we step into battle with what is. And the world, indifferent and unbending, always wins. Our culture, however, worships control. We build schedules, goals, algorithms, and entire identities around the illusion that we can sculpt existence to our liking. But the truth is harsher and more liberating. Control is a myth. The Stoics didn't seek to dominate the world. They sought to understand what parts of it were truly theirs. Epictetus divided life into two realms: what is within our control and what is not. Within our control are our thoughts, choices, and responses. Everything else, fortune, weather, the behavior of others, lies beyond our reach. To expect mastery over what belongs to fate is to declare war on reality itself. And yet, we fight that war daily. We expect friends to remain loyal, lovers to stay forever, plans to unfold smoothly, and dreams to obey our timelines. When they don't, we call it misfortune. But misfortune, in the Stoic view, is merely reality refusing to honor our fantasies. The pain of disappointment isn't caused by loss. It's caused by the collapse of expectation. So what happens when a man begins to loosen that grip? When he stops insisting that the world obey him and instead obeys the rhythm of the world? A strange transformation begins. His energy, once consumed by anxiety, starts to return to him. His focus sharpens. He acts, not from desperation, but from presence. He still works, loves, strives, but without the poison of entitlement. To expect nothing is not to be passive. It is to act without attachment. It means doing one's duty without needing the fruit of the outcome. This is the highest form of discipline, a calm and unyielding engagement with reality as it is. The ancient Stoics compared this to the archer and the target. The archer's task is to shoot as skillfully as possible, to steady the hand, control the breath, align the shot. But once the arrow leaves the bow, the wind, the air, and the distance decide its fate. The wise man focuses only on the draw, never the impact. Expectation, then, is the foolish hand reaching after the arrow mid-flight. When a man truly grasps this, his relationship with life changes. He stops asking, "Why didn't I get what I wanted?" and begins asking, "What was truly mine to begin with?" It's not resignation, it's liberation. Lao Tzu expressed this elegantly. He who is contented with what he has is rich. But Epictetus would add, the man who needs nothing at all is untouchable. To live without expectation is not to live without passion, but to reclaim passion from the clutches of illusion. It is to act freely, love deeply, strive nobly, while knowing that none of it belongs to you. This is not the death of desire, but the purification of it. And as the grip of control begins to loosen, a new kind of strength emerges, one rooted not in domination, but in harmony. That strength is where peace begins. There is a stillness that can only be found on the other side of exhaustion, when a man has finally grown tired of chasing, comparing, fearing, and wanting. It's a silence not of defeat, but of transcendence. It comes when he realizes that all his striving, all his inner noise, was built upon a single, invisible addiction: the need for things to go his way. Most people equate peace with circumstances, the perfect job, the right partner, the stable life. They say, "I'll be calm when..." But that when never comes, because expectation keeps shifting the finish line. Even when the goal is reached, the mind invents a new one. The man who expects is like a sailor chasing the horizon. He rows endlessly, never realizing the horizon only moves as he does. Epictetus understood that calmness was not the absence of movement, but the mastery of one's own perception. He taught that the moment we stop expecting the world to be gentle, we stop feeling wronged when it isn't. Life ceases to insult us because we have ceased to take offense. The storm may still rage, but the sailor no longer curses the wind, he simply adjusts his sail. That is the secret of invincible calm. A quiet acceptance that the universe owes us nothing, and in that nothingness, we discover everything. But such calmness is not passive. It's an act of strength, a discipline that must be earned daily. It means walking through the chaos of existence with open eyes and an unguarded heart, aware that loss, change, and uncertainty are not intrusions, but the very structure of life. The man who expects nothing does not retreat from the world. He moves through it with grace, because he no longer demands it to be different. Think of a mountain. The winds tear across its face, the rains erode its edges, yet it stands unmoved. Not because it resists, but because it is. The mountain does not argue with the weather. In that same way, the man who expects nothing no longer argues with reality. His calmness is not cold detachment. It is the warmth of radical acceptance. Such calm changes everything it touches. When others lose their temper, he stays composed. When betrayal comes, he does not shatter. When fortune turns its back, he smiles, not because he feels nothing, but because he sees through the illusion that he was ever owed anything. He is not indifferent, he is free. To live in this way is to discover a deeper kind of joy, one that arises not from pleasure, but from alignment with truth. When you no longer expect the world to play by your rules, you begin to see its beauty without distortion. Every moment becomes enough because it was never required to be more. Epictetus might have said it plainly: calm is the child of clarity. When you understand what belongs to you and what does not, peace follows naturally. You stop wasting your energy trying to rearrange what was never yours to command. And in that stillness, a paradox reveals itself. Expecting nothing gives you the power to receive everything. Because when your hands are no longer clenched around what should be, they become open to what is. There is a quiet radiance in that openness, the kind that makes others wonder where your strength comes from. It is not confidence in outcomes, but confidence in endurance. A man who expects nothing cannot be manipulated, cannot be broken, cannot be ruled by fear. His calm is not a mask. It is armor made of understanding. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." To expect nothing, then, is not withdrawal. It is mastery, a subtle command of self that makes even chaos bow. And once a man tastes that kind of peace, he no longer trades it for the counterfeit comforts of expectation. He becomes like the mountain, unmoved, unbent, alive. Every man is born free, yet nearly every man dies in chains, not physical ones, but invisible shackles forged from his own expectations. We imagine ourselves enslaved by governments, employers, partners, or fate, but the truth is more intimate. Our suffering begins the moment we decide that life owes us something. The world makes no such promise. It moves according to laws far older and colder than our desires. The seasons change, people leave, time erodes. And yet, we cling to outcomes, to assurances, to the fantasy that we can bend reality to our will. Expectation, then, is the mind's rebellion against impermanence. It refuses to accept that everything we hold dear is temporary. It insists that what pleases us should stay, and what hurts us should vanish. But in doing so, we sign a contract with suffering. Epictetus would remind us that suffering does not come from what happens to us, but from the story we tell ourselves about what should have happened instead. A man loses his wealth, the event is neutral. But the story, "This is unfair, I deserved better, my life is ruined," is what breeds agony. The event simply is. Our expectation turns it into torment. To expect nothing, then, is to dissolve the story. It is to meet life without the filter of demand, to let each moment arrive as it must, not as we wish it to. This is not resignation. It is radical acceptance, and it births a kind of freedom that cannot be bought or broken. Freedom, as the Stoics saw it, is not a political condition, it is a psychological one. A man can be chained in body yet sovereign in spirit if he controls his response to what he cannot change. Epictetus himself was enslaved for much of his life, yet his teachings radiate with serenity. He discovered that while men may imprison your limbs, they can never imprison your mind unless you give them permission through expectation. And here lies the quiet revolution, the transformation from reactive to sovereign, from victim to participant in the eternal flow of things. The man who expects nothing begins to see life not as an opponent, but as a teacher. Every disappointment becomes instruction, every loss, purification, every failure, an invitation to return to what truly matters, the self that exists before the wanting. It is in this rebirth that true freedom dawns. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What can I become because of this?" Your suffering no longer consumes you, it refines you. Without expectation, pain loses its venom. It no longer defines you, because you no longer resist it. The modern world, obsessed with comfort, has forgotten this sacred function of hardship. We believe peace means avoiding suffering, but the Stoics knew that peace means transforming it. A man who expects nothing welcomes difficulty, because it reveals the truth of his strength. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, the rain soaking you, the wind tearing at your clothes, and instead of running for shelter, you open your arms to it. You no longer fight what is, you become part of it. That moment, terrifying yet beautiful, is what the Stoics meant by harmony with nature. To expect nothing is to join the rhythm of the world instead of demanding it dance to yours. In that surrender, you are reborn. The chains fall quietly, not because you broke them, but because you finally stopped pulling. The energy that was once wasted on resistance returns as power, a calm, alert awareness that can face anything. And that awareness changes how you see others too. You stop blaming, stop demanding perfection, stop expecting them to heal your loneliness. You start to understand that love, friendship, even kindness are gifts, not entitlements. Gratitude replaces expectation, and freedom replaces fear. As the Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." To expect nothing is to find that peace within yourself, not as an escape from life, but as the truest way to live it. There comes a moment in a man's life when everything he clung to begins to fall away, not by choice, but by the nature of existence itself. The people he thought would stay drift into memory. The ambitions that once burned bright fade into quiet indifference. The things he chased no longer stir the same fever. And in that hollowing, he feels both fear and possibility. Because what if this emptiness is not a curse, but the beginning of true freedom? This is the territory Epictetus points toward when he speaks of a man who expects nothing. Such a man, stripped of illusion, is finally able to see himself, not as the world's puppet, but as its witness. His peace is not fragile. It cannot be taken because it is not built on possession. He has discovered the ultimate paradox of life. When you stop clinging to what you think you need, everything becomes a gift. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid loss, as if loss were the opposite of living. But life is loss, the constant shedding of moments, identities, and expectations. To resist it is to drown in time. To accept it is to awaken. When a man no longer fears losing, he becomes unstoppable. He acts not for reward, but because action itself is the reward. He loves not to be loved in return, but because love itself is the highest expression of being alive. This is the quiet power of having nothing left to lose, not in a nihilistic sense, but in the deepest spiritual one. It is the moment when you realize that everything external is borrowed, and that the only true possession is your own integrity. You begin to live lightly without clutching. You no longer bargain with fate. Whatever comes, you meet it with the same unshaken gaze. Epictetus often reminded his students, when you kiss your child, whisper to yourself, tomorrow, they may die. To modern ears, this sounds cruel. But it is not cruelty, it is clarity. He meant that by accepting impermanence, we love more fiercely, not less. When we expect nothing to last, we stop taking anything for granted. Every gesture, every breath becomes sacred. The man who lives this way cannot be enslaved, because he has already surrendered what others fear losing: reputation, comfort, approval, even hope. His joy no longer depends on the shifting winds of fortune. It flows from the steady spring of self-mastery. He is, in the truest sense, alive, fully, fiercely, freely. And this is where the Stoic path meets something almost divine. Expecting nothing does not make a man empty. It makes him infinite. Without the weight of demand, his mind expands. He stops consuming life and begins to see it. The curve of sunlight through a window, the silence between words, the miracle of breath itself. The smallest things, once invisible beneath layers of wanting, now shimmer with quiet meaning. When you no longer expect the world to complete you, you discover you were never incomplete. This is the final liberation. Not escape from life, but immersion in it, stripped of illusion. You can lose everything and still be whole. You can walk through ruin and still feel awe. You can love without clinging, strive without fear, and die without regret. Because the man who expects nothing has already learned to let go before life asks him to. That is the essence of Stoic power. An unshakable heart in a world that never stops shaking. The man who expects nothing does not hide from pain. He transforms it. He walks lightly, speaks honestly, acts with courage, and rests in silence. He knows that everything is borrowed, even himself. As Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." And so, the unseen power of men who expect nothing is this. They are the only ones who are truly rich. They possess what cannot be stolen: serenity, courage, and the quiet joy of being at peace with what is. In a world that demands we grasp and hunger, they walk untethered, neither beggars nor kings, but something far rarer: men who are finally, gloriously free.